In this video, you're going to see how to combine and split ways in OpenStreetMap. And I have the JOSM OpenStreetMap editor loaded here, along with some data. And I happen to have Bing aerial imagery in the background, which are allowed to use in OpenStreetMap just as a reference. Now, some background in OpenStreetMap, the primary data elements are nodes, ways, and relations. And we'll just be talking in this video about nodes and ways. Now, a node is sort of like a point in a GIS. I've selected it by clicking on it. If I hit Control-I, you can see that it has coordinates, and now those are always in WGS84 in the underlying database. Other applications may project them or transform them, as shown here that JOSM has done. Now, ways, I just select a way by clicking on it. Again, I click on it between the nodes and between this kind of virtual node or handle here. It'll get selected and be highlighted in red. Again, Control-I to get some advanced information. There are no coordinates in here. You do get a bounding box, the center of the bounding box, the centroid, and so on, but the actual geometry is made up of nodes. So it's referencing the nodes. All right, some things about JOSM. There are really two basic modes of operation. There are many other kind of, but the main ones, you're either selecting or you're adding, and those correspond to S and A on the keyboard. So if you're in selecting mode, you get this little cursor that looks like a rectangle, and indeed you can select by drawing a rectangle. If you hit S again, you get a lasso mode, so you can kind of do all sorts of crazy things with it. Hit S again to get back to the rectangular select. And in either one of those, if you just single click on a feature, a node or a way will select it. And for add, this allows you to draw new features. Double click to stop. And just Control-Z a bunch of times to get rid of that. All right, so I'll go back to select mode. So suppose we want to combine these two ways. First thing we do is zoom in a little bit using the mouse wheel, and I kind of move those two nodes until they're close to being on top of each other, and I'm going to hit M for merge. So I merge those, and you can see they kind of snap together. So now if you select that, hit Control-I, you can see that it is indeed part of two different ways. So I'm going to select one of the ways and hold down Shift and select the other, and I'm going to simply hit C for combine. Now, if your tags, and OSM specific thing, tags are like attributes or field values in a GIS or database, sort of. If you have different tags, it's going to ask you to resolve those conflicts. So here what's the surface? Is it asphalt or paved, or do you just want to ignore it altogether? So we can see from the photo that both of them are asphalt, and apply. So now you can see that that is just a single way as desired. Now, what about the opposite? Let's say we want to split the way at this location because maybe the speed limit changes or something. So simply select that node and hit P for part, as in Moses parted the Red Sea. Since S for split was already taken, and it's going to ask you which of the resulting ways should have the history. So unfortunately, only one of the ways can maintain the history. So I usually pick the longest one, and you again have two separate ways here. You can apply different tags, like for example, different max speed to the different ways. Now, if you want to pull those apart, so you can't really pull those apart. Let's say there's actually like some sort of barrier there where vehicles can't go through. So those two streets are really not connected, and so the ways that represent them should not be connected. So select the node, highlight in red, and then hit G for unglue, and then you can grab them and pull them apart. Incidentally, I'm going to just hit Control Z there, undo that. If you intend to split at a location such as this, where this node is shared between multiple ways, you have to select both the node and the way. So I'm holding down Shift, so I have two things selected, the way itself and the node, and this tells JOSM that this is the way we intend to split at that node. So hopefully this was helpful, and happy editing in OpenStreetMap.